So you might be pushing yourself into situations that negatively affect you and affect your mood and your mental health. So today I'm actually going to be talking about pushing boundaries as an autistic, but these boundaries can be pushed and you have the ability to push these boundaries. So I'm not talking about anything complicated here. So let's get straight into the video. So these are actually boundaries that you can push because they might be pleasurable or easy. So there's a lot of boundaries that you could be pushing that you don't even realize, or you don't want to be crossing that line. But if you put these steps into play, or if you put these processes into play, you'll be able to take a step back and have a better understanding of where the boundary is. Okay, this is the boundary here. I need to not cross it. So everyone has different fall points. So you might be just thinking of something in particular where you find yourself falling all the time. So you need to, first of all, identify, okay, what is your fall point? What are the things that you find that you go over the edge with? Because if you don't actually identify those things, well, obviously then I'm just going to be rambling on about nothing because there's nothing to solve here. So the first step is to know where you fall. What do you fall with? And what are the steps to overcome it? What could be the steps to overcome it? So before I go on, I'm going to give you an analogy just so that you don't get too confused about what I'm trying to talk about. But what I'm trying to say is, pretend there's a cliff right here, right? So there's a cliff. If you're walking next to the cliff, right next to the cliff, well, you're increasing your chances of falling off the cliff. Where if you just take a step back from that cliff, or you stay well away from the cliff, well, then you're never going to fall in the first place. And that's what I mean by falling over the edge, making a mistake, pushing the boundaries. Because if you're pushing the boundaries, you're trying to get right on the limit of the cliff. Well, of course you're going to fall. There's a higher chance and also a chance that you're going to fall over the edge. So I'll give you a second analogy, which is similar to the first one, but this is more to do with a slope. So this is a bit more harder to identify if you are going down the slope, but the lower you go, you might end up finding yourself down this slope. So for example, instead of there being a cliff, you've actually got a slightly angled slope that goes down, 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 and you get darker and darker and darker, right, as you go down it. But the thing is, if you're making tiny steps further and further, just a little bit, you're going to go lower and you're going to go lower and lower and lower until you realize, oh, I am now down here. I'm now at this bottom part, or now I feel like I'm stuck. But no, that's the mindset shift that you need to make in order to climb back up again and get away from this slope or get away from the cliff. Because you could be not noticing that you're actually digging yourself lower and lower and lower down the slope, but then you realize, oh, hold on, now I'm in this situation, now I'm in this negative situation, I didn't notice that I was going down this slope. Then you stay there. The problem is if you just stay there, well, then you're going to stay the same. So you need to start making your way up the slope again. You need to start making your way back up. Find your way out, you know what I mean? Instead of staying down in the depths of that slope and being upset. So this is where I don't want to overcomplicate this too much, because then it's not going to make sense to you. So the best way I can put it is, you would need to remove yourself from situations that cause you to get close to the edge. So for example, with a smoking addiction or drinking addiction, well, if you go to a party and you're at a party, well, of course you're going to smoke, of course you're going to drink. You're actually risking yourself drinking because you're around it. So why would you want to decide, oh, okay, I'm gonna try forcing myself not to drink while I'm at this party? Well, that's probably not going to be the case, because It's very hard for us to, you know, maybe not get peer pressured, or maybe not just be in the moment, because you just want to be in the moment. When you're in the moment, you're in the moment. So in the spare of the moment, you're gonna fall. So entirely, you probably just have to decide what is the risk here and what's the reward here, and decide, okay, is it worth my money? Is it worth my money going to this party just because I have a smoking or drinking problem? Or it might not actually be worth your money to go to the party, because you don't want to risk falling back into drinking again and ruining the next 3 months. Because if you knew that the next 3 months will be ruined, or the next 2 months would be ruined just because you went to that party, well, why are you going to go? And that's the questions you've got to ask yourself when you're trying to resolve this problem with falling off the cliff. So it's always going to be better to drop back rather than stay on the edge, because you're not actually looking at it for what it is. If you're living right on this edge, right on this cliff, imagine there's like all just black here, you can't see anything. Well, if I take a step back, right, now I can see the flowers, now I can see the leaves, now I can see the green grass. Not too green here, but you get what I'm trying to say. You can see everything for what it is, and that's gonna make you realize things and make you go, oh, that's what I was missing out on, that's what I wasn't doing right. Or okay, I don't know, just you're gonna see things for what it is, and it's gonna make it easier for you to identify those things. So next time you find yourself falling off the cliff, you then need to start to identify, why am I falling off the cliff? What is causing me to fall off this cliff? Why did I fall off this cliff? Can I talk to someone else about it? And what do they see? That's a very important one. Self-accountability, and also accountability from others. If you can bring your problem to someone else and show them your problem, just say, okay, this is the problem I'm having, they might have a perspective that you don't. And that's very important to resolving a lot of problems. But also writing down your problems, writing down, well, this problem happened, this made me upset. Because there's always a resolution as to what you could fix. So for example, you could write down the problem, and then you could ask yourself, what are the things that could cause me to do this again? Or you could also say, what may cause me, no, you could say, what will stop me from doing this again? So they're the two things that you need to know. Write it down, what will help me get out of this, and what may not help me. And then you can see the correlation between the two. And number 3, so those are the 2 questions. And number 3 is talking to someone else about it. That is very important. So I think that's the end of this video. Like and subscribe to watch more educational content about autism and how to be a more independent young man on the autism spectrum. Anyway, comment, like and subscribe. And if you want to see more content, let me know, and drop a comment on what you would like to see next on my next video. Thank you.